Welcome, everybody, to Intensity Broadcasting. My name's Joe Wright, and tonight I'm joined by my brother D. Wright in the booth, and we're here with the iOS Arca Series Round of 8 cutoffs. And Dave, we're here at Kentucky. 4 drivers are going to come out of Kentucky in the top 4 battling for the championship next week. What do you think?
Yeah, it's going to be some exciting action. We're here in the Bluegrass State for 60 laps of some thrilling Arca Pro action. Points-wise, it looks like we have Isaiah Gill already through to the round of 4, winning our last race. But we have a host of competitors that are vying for the championship and needing to get through to that final race and join that top 4.
Yeah, if Brian Nudie doesn't mess this thing up, he's pretty much locked in. That leaves those 2 spots in the bottom there, and everybody in that top 8 with a shot at it, Dave. It's going to be a heck of a race. We got tire wear is an issue here at Kentucky. We got fuel strategy. Getting on and off pit road is going to be tough. We got loose off. We saw some of the top runners here in practice spinning up off the corner. But, Dave, I'm excited. The top 4 is going to be a battle. I think I know who they're going to be. I'm not going to say any names, but we'll see when this thing all shakes itself out. Who's there, who's left, who's going to have a shot at this title. This is one of the closely competed series here in iOS as well, Dave. I mean, everybody in the top 8 there are within 8-9 points of each other, with the exception of the bottom guy, Michael Provault, have a little bit more workout cut out for him. But, man, it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, Provault probably has to win the race to get through. But qualifying is starting now with Atman Weiss to the top of the board with a 31.7. As you said, it's going to be exciting action. Really, really cool track here at Kentucky. Wide track allows for a lot of grooves of racing, and we're going to see some bumping and moving on this track.
And here's Atman coming to the line on his second go lap. Does he improve on his speed? Doesn't look to. So his first lap faster. And just like you talked about, Michael Provault knocking off Atman on his first. Got on the apron on that second one. That's going to cost him. But 31.53 puts him at the top of the board. Like you said, he's got to win this thing to stay in it, Dave. I think that's his only shot. Tyler Aspinall now to the top of the board. He comes around on his second lap from Chicora, Pennsylvania. And he just hopes he doesn't get screwed over this race.
You know what they say, wish in one hand, hope in the other.
And he completes his lap. Derek Chaput, another one of our top runners there, 7th in points. Going to need a good day to get himself into the top 4 for next week.
Yep, as we see Bobby Mays moving up to the top of the board, and Dylan Redding topping him on his second time around with a 31.186.
Check out Kyle Mays, who's 3rd in points right now. 6 back from Nudie, but only 2 or 3 points ahead of the guys behind him. Actually make that Bobby Mays, Brian Merle Jr., and Dylan Dunford all within 5 points of Kyle. So Kyle needing a good run here in qualifying. Really going to need a good run in the race. And I like that machine. Cool looking paint job he's rocking this week.
Definitely a nice paint job, base hardware.
Kyle Mays going to be P5 right now, D, right?
Yeah, we'll see what he does on the second lap. It seems the second lap of these cars are a little bit faster than the first one here at Kentucky, so most of the guys laying down their fastest lap on the second time around.
Kyle to the line. He's going to jump up 1 spot from 6 to 5. He got bumped down to 6 during his lap there. All right, let's check in with Brian Nudie. Nudie, with the exception of getting knocked out of the race early or something, pretty much locked in, Dave. He's just got to have a decent night. Keep himself in that top 10 would be a safe bet at making it to the next round.
Make sure his fuel gauge is working, obviously. We don't want to run into a 99.5 lapper as we seen last week. For those that tuned in, Isaiah snuck in on the last quarter of a mile over at USA International, I believe it was, to win the race. So Brian still finished in second, has a good run. He's top of the points right now. So really needs to just have a solid run and keep the car
First time lap.
in one piece.
He's going to be P7 speed right now. Let's see what he can do here on his second. He's out of the throttle into one. Down on the yellow line that time. He wasn't there on the last lap, so you can see a little loose off. We talked about that in the pre-broadcast. He's going to go into three here. He's going to lift a bit, get that thing right down on that yellow line. Struggling to get it down there, though, Dave. It's going to cost him some speed here. Nudie does not improve his position. It's going to be P7 still.
Actually ran a slower lap on the second lap there.
All right, another one of our playoff drivers competing. Brian Merle Jr. from McKinleyville. He said he loves trashy TV. I do too. Trashy TV's fun. I like that Paint Job Gill's Pizza and Batman ride.
I'm not even sure what trashy TV is. I haven't watched TV in quite some time outside of sporting events.
I guess TV is a loose term nowadays, right?
Yep.
Looks like he's kind of dogging it here on his first lap, Dave. Maybe a little gamesmanship.
Yeah, we'll see. We said the second one was faster, so see if he's trying to save some tires as he dives down to hit the stripe there. .13th on that run with a 31.680. Ooh. Lucy Jr. tagging the wall coming out of 4. Still improves that time. 31.228. Moves him up into 4th. Joe, he could have had the pole potentially there. Let's roll that back. He definitely got into the wall, right? Was that just a tail slide?
I don't know that he got in the wall, but we can definitely look at it there. Yeah, just a little tail slide, no wall touch there.
Buccino out on the track now, qualifying. He was one of the faster ones in practice earlier. First time around with a 2.94. So we'll see if he can improve on that here and get himself into the top.
Not able to improve on his second lap there, Dave.
No, and then Isaiah, I think we have out on track now too, qualifying. So I don't know if we can get an in-car on him, see what he's going with. So he hits the stripe for his first time around.
Ooh, real high there, D, right? I don't know if that's going to do anything for him.
Prove that on the second time around here.
That was good enough for P15 on his first lap. Now, he doesn't have to win this thing, so... Oh, hang on to it, Isaiah Gill. And that is going to be his qualifying attempt.
He will enjoy the run from the back, as always. So I'm sure we'll talk about that throughout the broadcast a lot tonight. As you said, doesn't need to really do well already through to the championship 4. But always nice to get some points.
Yeah, that's going to set the field. And Zachary Cox sneaking into that top spot. Zachary's shown speed all season long. He's going to start on the pole here at Kentucky. Dylan Redding will start outside of him. P3 is going to be Bobby Mays. And rolling off P4 is going to be Brian Merle Jr. Like you said, probably could have had the fastest lap had he not got loose to a P4 there.
Yeah, rolling off 5th is a 45 car of Tyler Aspinall. 6 will be 55 Kyle Mays. Right behind Kyle is going to be the 25 machine of Todd Mays, rolling off 7th. And then Brandon Richardson rolling off 8th in the 29 machine.
On the inside line, Brian Nudy's going to start P9 with Devin Bacino just outside of him. Both guys looking for some good runs here. Bacino not in the hunt, but Nudy really having to work on it. Brandon White's going to roll off P11, and Michael Proval, we talked about him a little bit. He's going to have a great night or possibly even win to have this thing work out for him.
Couple of youngsters in 13th and 14th with Nick Ford in the 20 machine and Atlee Atman Weiss in the 78. Rolling off 15th is going to be number 2, Isaiah Gill. Followed by Dylan Dumford, another one of our playoff drivers, starting from the back, enforcing the points. We'll see how his trek to the front goes as well. See if he can avoid some traffic.
Michael Lawrence is going to roll off P17. 18th is going to be one of our final playoff drivers of Derek Chaput. He's got the most work cut out for him as he's going to be starting from way in the back. And then Sylvan Seguin and Tony Richardson are going to roll out the field in the 66 and 18. You're right. Again, I think this is going to be a heck of a race. I think we're going to see possibly some tire strategy. We'll see what happens, though.
Yeah, as always in Arca, only one set behind the wall. So we said 60 laps here at Kentucky. Running about 31-second laps in qualifying. So tire wear is definitely going to be an issue. We'll see how that works out. We've seen gas become an issue in iOS too. So going to be plenty of different strategies going on. No stage breaks or anything in Arca, so we won't have any of that stuff. Although we have a propensity to have early cautions in this series, especially on the restarts within the first couple laps. So we'll monitor that to see how that works out as well. All in all, should be some really good action.
I concur. All right. The lights in the pace car are off. We're coming out of turn 4. Dylan Redding is going to start outside of Zachary Cox. Zachary Cox with the pole here. Fastest car in qualifying. What's he going to be able to do here as we go green? They'll wait for the green flag. You see the lights at the top of the screen. And the green flag is out. Zachary Cox is rolling. Dylan Redding with a decent jump on the outside there, Dave.
Yeah. Able to time the green flag up pretty well, and they're racing down into turn 1. It looks like Zach may clear him as we get through turn 2 and onto the backstretch.
Some really close racing between the 5 and the 45. I believe it's the 45. And with Tyler Aspinall. As they fan out, the 55 of Kyle May starts to look now underneath Tyler Aspinall. Kyle needs a good run here tonight as well. Keep himself locked in that top 4. So you see the guys in the front kind of breaking away just a little bit from these guys behind him. Nudy not needing a great run, just needing the top 10. That'll get him through.
Yeah, everybody's starting to separate into mostly single file action through the 20-car field. Good to see we get through those first couple laps pretty clean. So
Dylan Dunford goes underneath Atlee at Manwees, looking now at Nick Ford. And we know Dunford is racy, Dave. He's been racy all season. A lot of times not having the best qualifying effort. Sometimes he does, but a lot of times not. But always finds his way to the front toward the end of these races.
definitely a strong competitor, somebody that's definitely in the thick of it for the championship, and looking to have a strong run today. So we'll be monitoring that all race.
We watch Zachary Cox come out of turn 4. He's going to head down this front stretch, dip low. That's going to be the fastest way around onto the apron there real quick. A little touch to the line and back up to the wall into turns 1 and 2 as he drives away from Dylan Redding almost a half a second now.
Yeah, there is some separation, but the draft does come into play a little bit here on the backstretch, so you'll see them start to catch into Zach and within the next couple laps. Very difficult for one car to pull away from a pack of them like that.
You see Aspinall here working up underneath Bobby Mays.
And a couple drivers now, Joe, tagging that wall going into 1 high, either that or coming out of 2. I've seen a couple of different drivers get a little bit of a tail whip and get some damage. 55 of Kyle Mays is one of them. I've seen Uncle Todd get up there as well early in the race. So we'll be able to keep an eye on that as well. May, as this tire wear starts to get in, those don't become tail whips, but become hard hits into the wall. So see how that develops.
Like Zachary might have made a mistake. Dylan Redding now to the point. And Brian Merle Jr. now looking underneath Zachary Cox. Zachary might have a little issue, Dave. I don't know what's going on there. Stuck on that outside line, it looks like, through the turns. A little wiggle out of Jr. there. We're going through. Oh, I thought we were going to go 3 wide. Bobby Mays thought better of it through the tri-oval.
Starting to get racy, Joe.
Dylan Redding trying to check out while he's got 2x2 behind him.
As I say that on the wall, you see Zach slapping the wall coming out of 2 there.
I think that had something to do with what happened to him, Dave. I think he got a little slap happy there. Junior with a slide job, going to slide up in front of Zach. Zach's going to dip back underneath him and a little crossover move through the tri-oval. He definitely got a little wall there. Tyler Aspinall did, or I'm sorry, Zachary Cox and Zach's loose into turn. Man, 3 wide through the middle of the corner here.
Just a gaggle of cars there. Almost all with playoff banners, whether they're in the top 8 or original playoff drivers. So
Earl Jr. to P2. Bobby Mays tries to follow around Devin Machino working underneath him, Dave, into 1 and 2.
yeah, and why we say that, it's exactly what Dylan wants to see. He is checked out to over a second gap now, and really just setting sail.
1.3, and he's broke that bubble. There's about a one. I think it's like 1.2 to 1.5. You can break the 1.5 barrier. For sure drove away, and no more draft for those guys. Let's see, though, Junior's starting to now pull away while these guys race behind him. And he's actually closed that gap a little bit to Dylan Redding, down to 1.29 now.
Yeah, if they single file out and get into some sort of drafting pattern, at least on the backstretch, you can see some times improve. But Dylan loving what he sees in his rear view as they are getting racy.
2/10, he's closed the gap already. As you see, Junior starts to drive away from those guys behind him. And I think I like his path through the tri-oval, Dave, not going down to the apron. I wonder if it's faster. We got Isaiah Gill entering pits and leaving pits and entering pits and leaving pits. I don't know what happened with him. Looks like he might be having some issues, maybe. All right, under a second now, Dave. He's hunting him down. cool view from onboard Brian Merle Jr. as he works down through turns 1 and 2. Get down on that little grip spot there. He's going to come up off the corner, get out to the wall, and he's going to find that draft of Dylan Redding, 0.89 back as they head into turns 3 and 4. And he's licking his chops. Kind of pushed it too far there through 3 and 4. Oh, not good. Junior into the wall, off the wall. Lucchino's going to go around the outside of him. Zachary Cox looks to as well now. What a great job by Junior hanging onto that thing coming off the wall, Dave. We know it's easy to turn off that wall.
Yeah, especially in the Arca cars too. Any sort of jerk back off that wall, it's going to be trouble, and more than likely you're getting into another car as well. It always happens in traffic. Doesn't look like a lot of damage on that 74 either, Joe. He's not losing too much pace. Seems to stay once he got back up to speed with that group of cars there. So
yeah, it looks good. I don't think he has any issues now that he's back on. Just overdrove the corner. He was chasing. Reminiscent of yourself in the trucks last week, huh?
I think mine was more dirty air, considering I was completely all on the tail. So a little bit different situation, but I get your point.
Bobby Mays really looking for that middle hole there between these guys. I wonder if he's going to stick his nose in there or not, Dave.
Bobby, one of the drivers we had talked about that is in the top 8. He's 6th right now in points. So really needs a good run here to propel up into the 4th spot. He's going to win a race. So to answer your question, sure, he's going to make that move. Nudi's sticking his nose in there as well now, too. So
yeah, he pushed it high. Nudi on a rail right now. He's up 3 positions now, all the way to 6th. Your top mover, Devin Machino, P2 now. As he gives chase to Dylan Redding. 1.2 back. We'll watch that as it gets closer. But Nudi up to 4th. Sorry.
Nudi is cooking, and Devin is one we had talked about in practice that was really, really fast as we have our first caution. Yeah.
That's going to be for what? I'm not sure.
It looks like I just caught it there on the backstretch. Somebody loses it coming out of 2, I believe. Slams the inside wall on the backstretch.
Like maybe Sylvan? No? Oh, Nick Ford has some damage. Pull the back on Nick Ford. Maybe we can find it through him. Oh, yeah. Got lots of damage. There we go. It's into that outside wall off of 2 and hard into the inside wall, D-right.
Yeah, I hope those spectators in that motorhome are okay. His whole rear end just went over the fence. Let's see if we can get a check on those pedestrians, because that does not look good.
Watch that one in slow-mo. Watch his whole rear end leave it. Yep, there it goes. Doesn't look like anyone was standing right there, Dave. I think they're going to be okay.
Let's hope so. Really not what Dylan Redding wanted to see. Devin Bacino, on the other hand, a likely sight for him, or a liking sight for him, so to speak. Lap 18 right now, Joe. We're not halfway yet. Be interesting call on who comes in here. If the whole field does,
it
Dylan
like
will.
Todd Mays, Michael Proval, Tyler Aspinall, Derek Chaput, Michael Lawrence, Tony Richardson, and of course Nick Ford with his damage. So a lot of the guys toward the back taking the opportunity to hit pit road there, D-right?
Yeah, and do we have pit times on there, Joe? Do we know how long those stops were? See if we can see if they actually took tires yet.
Doesn't look like it. Looks like it was a fuel-only stop for most of them. 6.7 seconds. For most of these guys, a little bit over 7 seconds. Richardson, 8 seconds. But Ford, 17 seconds on his pit stop time. He may have taken tires along with a reset.
Either that or at least check the damage, right? Try to get some fixed. We'll see.
Richardson on pit road and Sylvan Seguin on there now.
And those guys running in the back, really nothing to lose with the extra top up coming around. Just gets them a little bit extra fuel mileage compared to the rest of the
Bobby
field.
Mays hit pit road D, right? As well. That's a big move.
Yeah, Bobby was kind of in the back third as well. I think he was in like 14th before that coming in. So, at least off the last pit stop.
Yep, just a little gas stop. Right, a little top off, maybe a little stretch here.
Go check out that 74 car, see how much damage we have on the right side. He's running third here. Will he be able to keep up pace with Devin and Dylan?
Got a little bit of right front damage. We look at that right front of him there. You can hear him saving fuel. He just fired it. Right rear, not so much. That wouldn't look too bad.
Pretty cool shot of the Joker there.
You can see just a little wrinkle on that right front. That's going to definitely affect him just a little bit, D-right. I don't think it's going to be enough to, you know, throw him off his game here early on. I don't know, though. I think it might have hit pit road and got that optional fixed. So.
Yeah, he obviously doesn't want to give up that track position. Guys in front of him didn't pit. Understandable.
Yeah, he's got to beat... he's got to beat Kyle Mays and Dylan Dunkford. That's his goal of the night, right? Like, he's got to beat those two guys. If he can do that, he'll be pretty solid in getting himself into this thing. And Bobby Mays, too. So, Kyle Mays, Bobby Mays, and Dylan Dunkford. Those are Junior's targets for the night. He wants to make it into that top 4.
Yeah, and Atman Weiss running up in the 5th position. Loving that. Don't believe he pitted either, so he's on similar strategy with some of those front runners. We'll see how that turns out here as the lights are off on the pace car, Joe, so we're going to be going green here.
Dylan Redding will take the inside line. That was his choice here as we come through turns 3 and 4 as these guys get ready to roll. And Dylan can go whenever he wants now that the pace car is off. That's how this league works. And they're off, and Buccino's going to scoot down right away in front of Junior. Buccino looking for that lead, though, early in this run. He doesn't want to chase Dylan. He wants to go right to the front as he gets underneath down the backstretch. Atlee blocking behind him, boy. He's got, these guys were all over him. Zachary Cox all up behind him. Tyler Aspinall looking underneath. Brandon White to the outside. They're going to go 3 wide down the back or the front stretch. Make that 4 wide almost.
Really racing.
Definitely 3 wide.
Really racing it hard.
Buccino to the front. Dylan Dunford almost gets loose under Junior there as he was peeking. Nudie working around the outside of those guys. Watch this nose of Dunford as he works to get underneath Brian Merle Jr. Actually, he's going outside now. He's going to clear him, Dave.
Yeah, some really good racing up at the front here, especially within those
Or
second, third,
not.
and fourth position.
Junior back passing. Back into third. Kind of just lending him the outside. He's saying, go ahead. If you want that outside line, go ahead and take it. Now Dylan underneath as they come through the tri-oval. Junior doesn't pinch him down. A little bit of a pinch there. Junior will have the run up off the corner here down the backstretch. Dylan Dunford not able to make anything happen underneath of him. Junior really battling to keep that spot, but overruns turns 3 and 4 again. That's when we saw him hit the wall earlier, Dave, when he did that.
Yeah, it looks like he's able to maintain the line coming out of there, but Dumford does get a quarter panel on him. We'll see how that works out going down into one here.
He's going to clear him through this corner if he stays with it. A little slide job. Dylan Dunford up in front of Junior.
I think he cloaked up there, man.
Junior's going to settle in. Buccino, our new leader, starting to really kind of drive away from Dylan Redding.
Yeah, over a half-second lead. So
talked about Michael Provault needing to get a win here, Dave. He's back here fighting with Todd Mays. Riding that high line, kind of conserving tires.
Catman got into the wall there behind him.
Dunford now giving chase to Dylan Redding, but Junior not going away quiet. He's still there, Dave. This is the race for that transfer spot for those two guys. I think Junior might be trying the same thing Dylan tried on him, a little crossover. We'll see if he can get underneath of him here. Nope, he's going to stay up high as he uses Dylan to pull him by a little bit. He's going to go underneath here, or maybe not yet.
Chino extended the lead out to 3/4 of a second over Dylan Redding now too. So
Dylan's under fire now, D-right from Dylan Dunford.
Yeah.
Junior's going to go with him. They're going to both try to get underneath Dylan Redding here. That low line is the fastest way around. The thing about the high line is you can keep it wound up, which is what Dylan's doing really well right now. He's also getting help down the straightaways from Brian, who keeps switching. He's going low in the corner, high on the straightaway. See Buccino in the bottom of that corner. They're actually catching him while they race like this. Dunford is going to clear Dylan Redding. Can Junior do the same thing? Junior underneath by a quarter panel. Side by side as they come up off the corner. Duty's going with Junior through the tri-oval. That'll help Brian Merle into 1 and 2. That'll shove Junior by Dylan Redding. Junior up to third now, as Nudie now having to make that same play, but without the help.
Yeah, and Dylan just really dropping like a rock. Seems to have drove the tires off of it, Joe, as we're approaching or just over halfway now. So tire wear going to be a major factor. See if some of these guys run it till it is dry before they go into pit.
I think that's going to be the case. I don't see these guys. And speaking of which, at Matt Weef's on pit road. Looks like he got down to speed well. If he goes with 4 tires here. It looks like he's going to. As Buccino comes by him, they'll go one lap down. Dylan Dunford now looking for the lead, Dave.
Yeah, it looks like a hard charge to the front from 15th or whatever it was qualifying. So finally, on the mecca of his journey here, up to the front, and we'll see how that turns out for him.
He's letting that center roll a little bit longer than Buccino. You saw Buccino start to push up the track a little bit. So Dylan really letting the car kind of roll through the corner, not getting back to the throttle too early, and he's underneath Buccino here.
Yeah, and as you know, Joe, letting it roll is obviously where he's getting some of that tire save that he has. That's allowed him to come up through the field the way it has. So
back the corner up a long way, still out of the throttle, still picks it up a little bit, and a full back on it. And you'll see the difference in speed off the corner. And again, a little bit of draft from Buccino helped that. That brought Nudie and Junior right into the fight. They're gonna touch. Oh man, that was close.
Some hard side drafting down the backstretch there, Joe.
3 wide, Dave.
Almost 3 wide. We have a caution. Brandon White
has
and
crashed.
I believe Brandon Richardson involved in that.
All right. That's going to bring in our first wreckage replay of the night. Check her out while I go find it. Poor girl.
And I got to think that we're going to see a host of traffic coming down pit road here for some pit stop changes. Atman Weiss will get his lap back more than likely as the lucky dog.
I'm going to collect Zachary Cox and Bobby Mays, one of our playoff drivers, Dave. This was, man, well, I'm going to say that this was a little bit reckless. Maybe not on purpose, but let's see what happened maybe before that. We'll see if there was any retaliation type stuff going on there. Watch it for a minute. See what happened. Brandon White into the wall there. Way out of the throttle. Nothing. He's high. Richardson comes up in front of him. Nothing bad there. Through the triover they go. Brandon White way down underneath Richardson. I just don't think he was ready for him to lift and come that way, Dave.
Yeah, it was a racing line thing, I think.
Yep. All right, so Dylan Dunford and Dylan Redding, Brian Merle Jr., Brian Nudie, Tyler Aspinall, Kyle Mays, Todd Mays, Bobby Mays, Brandon Richardson, Michael Lawrence, Michael Proval, Brandon White, all on pit road.
We had some pit times from those guys, Joe. See what we're working with here.
There's your pit times. We know Nick Ford took his tires earlier. He does not pit there. His stint length not registered. Zachary Cox with a 6.7 second pit stop there. Buccino 15. So the rest of the field taking all fours.
Yeah, Zach keeping his, hoping for a late caution, it looks like. Bold strategy, Cotton, but we'll see how that works out.
Might be able to steal one here if he got it, though.
Yeah. Going to be under assault, I would imagine, from the rest of the field after this green flag run. Or after this green flag restart, rather. We'll see how it works out.
So that surrenders the lead to Nick Ford. Nick Ford being caught up in that early incident where he self-spun into the inside wall, used his reset, took 4 tires, and yeah, He didn't even go on pit road for fuel there, so maybe he's hoping he can make it to the end.
Which I believe that happened around lap 20 go. So he may. I don't know if he's shutting it down here on caution or whatnot, but he may have enough to get to the end.
Another caution or two anyway. He's still going to have his work cut out for him, keeping these guys on fresh tires behind him.
100%.
Atlee Weiss getting the wave around. He's going to find himself back on the lead lap after going a lap down during green flag pit stops. Dang, nobody wants to chat with us tonight, Dave. People even watch this anymore, you think?
I think they got to. What else you do on a Monday night? Football hasn't started yet, right?
Right. Is there preseason football on Monday nights?
I don't know if there's anybody tonight, but yeah, there's preseason underway right now.
We'll look back from Nick Ford's machine as he leads the parade lap one more time around. Doesn't sound like he's too worried about fuel, D, right?
Are you going in there warming them up? No worries on fuel.
You know who's a sleeper right here, D, right? Is Derek Chaput.
Yeah, Chaput we talked about, a playoff driver. I believe he's in 7th right now in the playoffs. So one of the ones that needs a really strong one. Doesn't necessarily need to win, but Nick Ford immediately on the gas as the pace car peels off. And he'll get a big old jump.
Zachary Cox 3 wide into turn 1.
On them old tires. That should work out well.
Nudie pushing Dylan Dunford with all he can down the backstretch. Bacino through the middle. He's going to side draft Zachary Cox. Zachary Cox really tight. Dylan Dunford underneath. He's under fire now, Dave.
Yeah, and Zach had a lot of speed there on the backstretch, Joe. I'm wondering if he took two with the can there and just took the right sides, and that's why we're seeing him a little tight, maybe off.
Man, this is some wild racing right here. And you see Brian Merle now go middle lane underneath Zach. Zach's dropping like a rock on that outside line.
Oh.
Hard into the wall
Rise
for Brian Merle Jr. Nudie and Dunford racing Dylan Redding toward the front here as they don't want to let Buccino get away. Nick Ford way out of the groove. Nudie to the middle. Redding to the outside of Buccino. Now to the inside. What's he got for him into the turn? Buccino's going to wheelman it through 3 and 4. He's going to find himself still with the lead as they hit the line. 1, 2, 3. Dylan Redding and Nudie second and third. Dylan Dunford looking back underneath him. Look who's rebounded from getting into the wall, Dave. Myrtle Jr. still battling with Dunford. Nick Ford into the wall. Jr. sideways. What a slide.
Wheeling it. Yeah, 3, 4, and 5, all playoff drivers. The top 2 really just moonlighting right now. So going to be a competitive finish here. Even 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we'll see how this finish goes, Joe, but it's going to be exciting stuff.
17 laps to go. Brian Nudie sideways again. Got a little apron there. And he's got business behind him. Kyle Mays and Tyler Aspinall right behind him. Junior running a little higher into the corner here. I don't know if that's going to work for him with Kyle Mays behind him. And Kyle's got his hands full with Tyler Aspinall, so we'll see. Ryan Nudie giving chase to the lead. Dylan Redding looks underneath Pacino again. Nothing there. Nudie now under Dylan Redding. Nudie really good on that low line, Dave. I've raced with him side by side like that for lap after lap. He's really good. He could keep that speed up. Nothing there for him that time, though.
Yeah, those three battling at the front. The car for me to watch right now is the 94. He was, as we seen earlier in the race, a tire saver. So we'll see how that works out. It seems like he's just back there lurking right now. As we cross the
into the wall behind them. And Junior's got to be thinking about points here. There's no need to race that hard right now. I think he's good, right, Dave?
So I believe he was in fourth, right, or fifth. So just had to.
So he has to beat Kyle Mays by 2 spots. I think that's the key here. Which not right now because Kyle's right behind him.
Right. And Dylan is fourth in points. So I mean, the action is heating up, Joe. This is the playoffs.
Those are the 3 to watch, though. Dylan Dunford, Brian Merrill Jr., and Kyle Mays all in a row here. Dylan really locking himself pretty much in right here. Kyle Mays, if he can hold that spot, I think he would maintain as well. As we work 13 laps to go. Dylan Redding to the outside of Buccino. Nudie to the inside. 3 wide for the lead.
Yeah,
and these
big
boys
move
are,
by Nudie.
These boys are putting on a show. Buccino's going to look back underneath down the back stretch. Nothing there. Not yet, anyway. Dylan Redding showing that power on the outside, though, Dave.
Yeah, drove it in a little bit hard there. Nudie's going to clear him.
I think he's going to get a good run here if he... he's going to stay outside. He wants that outside line, it looks like. Nice little slingshot to the inside. Is it going to work, though? I don't think so. Brian Nudie's going to have the run off the corner down the backstretch. But Dave, look behind him. Junior just made a pass for fourth.
Has his sights set on Buccino and Dylan as they connect coming out of 4. A little bit of door bang in there from the 68 and 99.
What a show these boys are putting on. 3 wide into the turn. And Junior's going to keep it wound up out there outside of Dylan. Dylan's struggling on that inside line. Dylan Redding moving down. Junior above him.
Nudie's starting to turn out a half-second lead now. As those guys battling in his rear view.
Yeah, but Kyle Mays keeping these guys in check as he moves past Dylan Dunford now as well. Really tight here through the middle of the corner. Down the backstretch, man, these guys are putting in work. I'll tell you right now, these guys' heart rates are through the roof. They're sweating in their armpits, and they're having fun.
Hard racing.
Junior through the middle. He looks middle. Nothing there. Three wide again. Kyle Mays. Oh, netcode gets... Oh, man. And that's going to cause our first caution, or second caution of the night.
That did look like some netcode there, man.
I mean, it was netcode, but also Kyle did push up the track. I think the incident would have probably happened no matter what.
Yeah, let's go take a look at that. really unfortunate, Joe, but like, how long was it gonna last?
Man, I don't know, but they were putting on a show.
Does Dumford get into Kyle there too to push him up the track? Or
I'm gonna look at it here from the far chase. And I don't see Kyle really come up the track at all. But that code and turning down.
yeah, it's definitely netcode, man. That's unfortunate. Would they have made contact potentially? I don't know.
And so if anybody's watching and they want to know what the net code thing is we talk about all the time, it's two cars thinking, well, the internet thinking that two cars are in the same place at the same time, but visually here on iRacing, you don't see it. Technically they were, and it's milliseconds. You know, Junior's in California. I'm not sure where the Maze guys are, but he's in California, so the time for that to go to the server, then go to him, it's just an error you cannot get rid of unless we start moving at the speed of light on the internet. So. Junior down pit road. Looks like he's going to see what he's got for optional right now.
He's got to take the fasty. We got 6 left, Joe.
He didn't, though. Oh, he did.
Threw the old reverse job in there.
Well, that's a terrible outcome for him. Derek Chaput didn't take tires, I don't think, Dave, and neither did Zachary Cox. These guys, 17th and 18th, brand new tires, possibly. Let's look at their pit lanes here. The pit stop time. Cox for sure, Chaput for sure. Both taking 4 here, Dave. They're going to start 17th and 18th, respectively, on brand new tires. Can they do it in 6, well, we'll say 4 laps?
Gotta think we haven't seen the last caution. There's gonna be a lot of giving, or a lot of taking and not a lot of giving, I think, coming up here, Joe. We will see.
Seguin on pit road now. Molson Canadian. Do you remember drinking that when we were younger?
Could I forget?
And looks like he might just be getting some repairs fixed.
Yeah, they used to have those Molson Triple X's, remember?
Yep. Maria Brian Merle Jr.'s mom says, "Good job, Brian." Well, it was a good job till he got taken out.
Molson Triple X's were like the
They were like 12% alcohol, weren't they?
I don't know. I think they're like 7, but what I was gonna say is they were like the IPA before the IPA.
No way.
Not in taste, I mean in alcohol content. You know, you get some of those high alcohol IPAs.
Yeah, but I think they were like 12% alcohol. Oh, maybe not. It was only 7.3. Maybe when we were just younger, it just felt like it was way more because we were drinking Miller Lights and stuff like that. Olsen Triple X, 7.3% alcohol by volume. I wonder how that thing tastes now that I'm older. Yeah, it was pretty bad luck, Maria. Hopefully he can rebound here. We'll see what he can do, but he was in it. Gannon says he should get his spot back. I don't know about that. Racing's racing. Every time somebody wrecked, they got their spot back. It wouldn't race. So did Buccino take the outside, or was Nudie at the... Nudie was at the front already, so Nudie's going to take the inside line. Buccino on the outside. Dylan Redding and Kyle Mays. I mean, if you're Brian Merle Jr., you really got to hope that Kyle or Dylan Dunford has something bad happen here, and the rest of those guys that are in front of him here.
Yeah, and if you're doing Redding, you have to be all over Nudie here because you know, based on the last one, Buccino's going to cut down underneath the leader there, you think. So, see if they tighten up here as the lights are off. We're going green here, Joe.
Brian
We're going to
Nudie.
have 3 laps to go.
Brian Nudie goes. Buccino was ready. Dylan Redding not ready. Kyle Mays to the outside of him. Aspinall to the inside. Watching Dylan Dunford and Kyle Mays here, 2 of our playoff drivers. Bobby Mays now in the hunt, Dave.
He recovered well from the early incident.
Yeah, and he's only 2 points back from Dylan Dunford, so if for some reason he can clear him by a car or 2, that might be a steal. 2 laps to go.
Lap. Yeah, we get through this lap caution free here, Joe. It's going to be the race, so...
Four wide, they are coming to the line behind them. Nobody reckons.
Nudie takes the white flag.
White flag is in the air. Brian Nudie is going to lead this thing, and he's probably going to win it. Doesn't look like Buccino has anything for him as they come off of turn 2. Buccino looks inside.
Here it is.
Nudie side drafts him up off the corner. It's going to be a race to the line, D-Right. But Buccino is going to fall in behind him, and it's going to be Brian Nudie. Redemption from running out of fuel last week. Well, let's talk about the guys who just transferred. Kyle Mays beat Dunford, but Kyle was already in front of him, so I think the transfer spots are going to be Brian Nudie, Kyle Mays, Dylan Dunford. Those will be your top 3 and with Isaiah Gill. So Isaiah Gill, Brian Nudie, Kyle Mays, Dylan Dunford, your 4 into the championship round next week.
Yeah, and Chaput and Zach Cox not really able to improve off that restart. Chaput finishes 14th, Zach 17th. So, got to commend this strategy. Got to go off pace with some of the other guys to have a chance at it. Just caution was a little too late.
And there's a look at your finishing. Watch Brian Nudie burn it down on the front stretch. All right. Well, we got our 3rd place driver in the waiting room. We'll pull him in first. Hey, Dylan. It's Joe and Dave in the booth. You got us.
Copy. I got you guys.
Man, what a run tonight. Little bit of time up in the front there. Ran away about a second or so, second and a half. These guys were able to get back to you. Some pit strategy didn't go your way, and you find yourself coming home P3. Talk to us about your night.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I just wasn't able to save tires the way I wanted to. I was plenty fast and led some laps, and want to give a shout out to everybody out on the track tonight. It was a really fun race. I knew that I was going to wait as long as I could to take tires. when the caution came out in somewhere in the lap 30s, I felt like I just had no choice. So took tires and tried to save as best I could after that, but ended up battling Devin for the lead, and I think I burned him up more than I needed to. Canute was fast all night long, so shout out to him. Good win. Just happy with the third place finish. I'll take it. Always happy to be on the podium.
Hey, Dylan, can't agree more with pretty much all of your points there. Really, really exciting action. You were definitely very, very fast, led a lot of laps, and to your point, I think burned them off a little bit there. We've seen you drop as the runs got a little bit longer. You've moonlighted in the series for quite a few races in the season. We're going to head to Charlotte for the final. It's Nudie, Isaiah, Kyle, and Dylan Dumford. Who do you think is going to lock it up?
That's a really strong group of 4 guys. I'm going to go with Canute. He's really good at Charlotte, but honestly, I would not count out any of those people, and I wouldn't be surprised if any of them took home the championship. So I'm planning on racing next week, but I'm still going to be a spectator at the same time. I'm looking forward to seeing those guys battle it out.
Awesome, Dylan. Well, thanks again for showing up and hanging out with us and putting on a show. Anybody you want to thank before I let you go?
Yeah, as always, I'm going to thank Pelican Snowballs, my sponsor. Had them on the car tonight. Always proud to represent them. Big thanks to Neon Sim Racing and all the guys on the radio tonight who helped me with my strategy and stuff. And shout out to everybody who's raced in iRacing Ulva Series, who's watched iRacing Ulva Series over the past couple seasons. It's been a blast. It's been a fun ride.
Awesome, Dylan. Well, congratulations. We'll see you again next week as we watch those 4 battle for that championship. Devin, you got Joe and Dave in the booth. You got us.
Yes, sir. What's going on, guys?
Man, what a run tonight. You put on a little bit of a show for us. 3 wide here, 4 wide there. A little bit of leading. But you find yourself coming home just a little bit short on Brian Nudie. What'd you tell us about it?
Yeah, I can't win these Arca races. It was a really good race out here. Kentucky's a really good track for these cars. I think it just came down to me and Dylan racing each other too hard, which is tough as teammates. Luckily, we were beating and banging and didn't get any damage that hindered either one of us. We were able to bring it home 1-2. I was talking to Brian, and he said he was faster on the long run. I was faster on the short run. And I told him that last lap was a controlled dive because he's a playoff guy. I don't want to ruin that. So I saw him push up a little bit, but he still got a really good run out of 4 and just came up a bit short here tonight.
Yeah, good point there, Devin. I think the final corner, Joe was making a comment coming down the backstretch, thinking Nudie had it locked up, but definitely was a hard charge by you, and then more of a drag race down the front stretch. But I think he had more speed with the high line to get it. As you said, you've moonlighted in a couple races. I'll ask you the same question I asked Dylan. Who do you think is the favorite as we head into Charlotte with Isaiah, Kyle, Nudie, and Dylan vying for that championship?
I mean, if there was a 4-sided die, you could roll it and pretty much pick any one of those 4. They've all been so fast this season. I've raced with, Brian and Isaiah more than I have with Kyle and Dylan. So, I mean, I feel like those two have been putting on a show all year. So I'd probably put it up to Brian or Isaiah, but I know all 4 of them have been super fast this year. And with how short these races are and the one set of tires, you never know what'll happen.
For sure, Devin. You put on a great show again tonight. Thanks for coming out. Anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, I just want to thank you guys for doing this. New Craft Fine Jewelry and Design. If anybody's into this, they found their daughter. They found a brain tumor that was successfully removed this morning. We're waiting on the results, so if you can just pray. I know I shout out New Craft all the time. I know we have a pretty big platform over here, so if we can just get some prayers out for their daughter, that would be awesome. That's really the main focus tonight.
Awesome, and I'll second that. And have a good night, Devin. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, guys.
All right, last but certainly not least, the one, the only, the Naked Mermaid, Brian Nudie. Brian, you weren't there all night, bro, but you found yourself there when it mattered. Last 30 or 20 or so laps, you found yourself at the front of the field holding people off. How'd you do it?
Well, I hate to use this line because it's overused all the time, but I did just buy the track before I logged into the session. So I was my first laps on the track were about 2.5 minutes left to go. I was running late at work. I had to rush to get here. Haven't even eaten dinner yet. So I'm gonna jump out there and go eat some dinner. Um, but yeah, it was. I was able to just kind of save my tires, pick my way through there, and at the beginning I saw everybody was racing really hard, so I kind of just picked a pace and found how I can save some tires. And on the long run, I felt like I was the best car. On the short run, I was maybe, I don't know, top five.
Yeah, really an exciting race. It is funny how it works out sometimes when you just buy the track and you're not used to it, have no history on it, how well you can run with a little bit of knowledge. But I asked the other two guys that finished second and third, those guys aren't in point standings or anything, more moonlight drivers, who their top contender was heading into Charlotte. And they both pointed to you as the man to beat. With the win tonight, you maintain your top spot, Brian. Are you, in fact, the man to beat as we head to Charlotte?
Well, I do like that track, but there's definitely going to be tough competitors for sure. I know Isaiah's locked in. I think looking just kind of brief, kind of going over it, looks like it's going to be Kyle Mays and Dylan Dunford. So you got four really fast guys, in the final race, and it's a 1.5-mile track, so Isaiah doesn't have that short track little gift that he usually has there, so it's going to be a pretty even playing field between the four of us.
Yeah, it ought to be a great show at Charlotte when all four of you race for the championship and the last iOS Arca Pro Series championship that we'll talk about, and it's going to be awesome. I can't wait to crown that person. And Brian, I'm gonna put my money on you. I'm gonna say you're probably gonna do it, and hopefully that jinxes you.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, buddy.
All right, you got anybody you want to thank before I let you go?
Oh, as always, I got to thank my beautiful wife. It was her birthday this past week.
Happy
Let me
birthday!
do this. Yep. And then I also got to give a shout out to Isaiah Gill and everybody over at Gill's Dump Truck Service and Pizzeria, the fastest dump trucks in the Northwest. Also got to give a shout out to Sharon. She's feeling a little under the weather right now, but she's feeling good. She's getting back to good health. Shout out to everybody over at Two Pedals One Clutch. This is the last few races of that team. Switching over to YXU Racing next season. With gonna be running with Colin and yeah, and you guys up in the booth. You guys do an awesome job.
Thanks, dude. Did Sharon catch the Delta or what? Did we get her a PCR?
She got the Alpha Beta Mega Chi variant, so we'll see what happens.
Prayers up.
Yeah.
All right, Brian, take care. We'll see you next week. Good luck.
All right, thank you. Have a good one.
Well, D-Right, I don't know if you can ask for much more from a race. That was pretty wild. It was a show. They put it on. We watched it, and I'll tell you what, those guys raced their butts off. Even those guys that were just barely on the bubble. Brian Merle Jr. coming up with some bad luck from some net code. That's one of those things in iRacing you just got to deal with. Ends up 13th, not going to make it in.
Yeah, it's been kind of a theme in all of the iOS series, both our Arca trucks and the Cup series. As the seasons go on, we get into the playoffs. The races get a lot cleaner, a lot less cautions. We've seen that tonight, and a lot more exciting action with give and take, but really hard racing as well. You pointed out the net code issue there with Merle. Really unfortunate that happens to a playoff driver. But again, those guys are racing 2-3 wide for 5, 10, 15 laps almost. Really exciting action there. Really excited to head to Charlotte for the championship. Dylan Dunford, Kyle Mays, Isaiah, Nudie, really anybody's race. I know everybody's picking Nudie from the people that we've talked to tonight, but I don't want to discount Dylan, Kyle, or Isaiah. Everybody's going to have a chance in that race. You never know what happens here in iOS.
I completely agree, and Charlotte is a little bit tricky. They're going to have to manage their throttle, manage their tires. It's going to be a good race again. All right, for Intensity Broadcasting in the iOS Arca Pro Series, I'm Joe Wright. Tonight I was joined by my brother, David Wright. We'll see you next week, same time, same channel, as we go for that championship. One time, one race to decide it all. And like Atlee Atman Weiss would say, over and out.